So the reason we're doing this is to bring our dads in to our community, because our community is so important. Our school operates based on strength in community, village, connection. And I think a lot of our mums are doing this really well, but I'm concerned that the dads are sort of feeling maybe not as deeply connected, and maybe possibly sometimes not comfortable enough to come into the school as regularly and consistently. And quite often a lot of our dads are working away on roster as well. So that can, I know, be really difficult to feel like you can re-assimilate back into your family, let alone the school community. So we just want to reduce those challenges for our dads and just make them feel more comfortable coming into the school and being part of our community, because it's only going to benefit the kids. I'm actually really excited to see how this is going to work for our kids. And even when I've mentioned it to them, their little faces light up, like, is my dad going to be coming into the school to do things? And that alone is enough for me.
Fantastic.
I think it's just going to be the best thing ever.
Beautiful. Thank you. That's lovely. It's actually really lovely from me as well, to hear that perspective from a school's perspective, because again, and as an introduction, my name is John Rudder and I represent obviously the Fathering Project, which is an organisation that's developed in Australia, come out of WA, and we exist because we want to increase the engagement and the effectiveness that we can be as fathers for our kids. And so, Angela, exactly what you just said, I love hearing that from the school's perspective, and that the kids recognise it. You can see that, and most of us recognise, even dads, we all recognise that we've got a role to play. What we want to do as an organisation is really bridge that gap potentially, or make it an easier walk across the bridge to say there's actually really critical roles for us to play. Here's how we can do it. Here's how we can be really super effective, how we can feel better as men and do it really purposeful. I say competent and confident, because if we know what we're doing and then we're going to feel confident in it, we're going to be inspired in ourselves to do more. So to the two gents here tonight that's starting off for Farleigh State School, which is fantastic. To Darren, thanks for being here, and Linton for being here. That's awesome. So tonight is really about launching your dad's group, because that's what we see as such a great vehicle. So we'll talk a little bit about the history, because I think that's relevant, and that to me is a connection point to why we exist as an organisation. That's why I joined it, was the story that I'll tell you in a second. But I love that we're actually a research-based organisation, because that also gives us an anchor and credibility that this isn't just good ideas. This is actually going deep into mental health of kids, but also the mental health of men and families. And we really try and keep that in simple language. So this isn't a parenting program. It's not about that at all. It's about getting men connected. As I said, the best vehicle we have found for us to see social change and really to change a generation in the way that we parent them and connect with our kids as dads is through dads groups. So really powerful. So that's why we love working in schools. We love being anywhere where a dad is gathering with other dads, but schools are a great space. And Angela, exactly as you've said before, as a principal, you recognise that there is such value when dads walk in, but also I heard you recognise that it's not a comfortable space for men and for dads. And so, give you credit as a principal to be visionary enough to say, actually, let's be intentional about doing this. And over the nation, we've got over 600 dads groups now across Australia, and it's just beautiful watching those transformations where dads feel comfortable and feel more purposeful walking to a school. And as I say, our kids benefit from that. So I'll launch into that. Guys, what I would normally do in this space, and if you're watching, what I'd normally ask is we actually start building community, because that really is a key part to it. So I ask, for you to share your own fathering story. If you guys are comfortable, even just giving a little bit of example about who you are as dads, how many kids you've got, those sorts of things, even a role model to the others that may be watching that. Just a simple introduction of how many kids you've got. And if you're actually up for it, the invitation is to share maybe what's the best fathering moment besides the birth of your kids that you've had where you think that's cool. I love being a dad because of that. It doesn't have to be a big momentous moment, actually. I love just simply playing basketball at the front here of my house with my kids. Yesterday, as we came home from school, I've got two teenage boys, and a 10-year-old girl, or 11-year-old girl, and just playing basketball before we enter the house after school. I love those moments for me as a dad. Does anyone want to share their fathering experience or story?
I might actually jump in and give you guys a little bit of space at this moment. Go and do a couple. I'm close by if you need me, but I'll let you guys be guys and do
Yeah.
guy things.
No problem. Thanks, Angela. That's very cool. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I've got Darren Hudson, got 2 kids. One's just started high school this year, which is big. Annabelle, which has been a big challenge as it is with starting in grade 7, so that's always pretty full on.
Yeah.
And Lewis is
This is bobbing up and down.
yeah, he's happy he's on PlayStation behind me.
I love it. That's good.
Yeah, he's obviously in grade 5 this year. I had to count back there a bit.
Yeah, that's right.
But they're trying to spend more. Yeah, I'm a diesel fitter. I've always worked ridiculous hours. The same as that's what the WA thing is as well. We've been in WA. We travelled around Australia before the kids.
Yeah.
There's always timelines. I'm just going through adjustment phases of my work at the moment, trying to reevaluate what I actually want to do. So,
Nice.
the kids, the things I like spending more time with, I suppose, is we got a little skate park behind us with the basketball, taking the basketball over, or going to the beach, taking our dog for a walk.
Yeah.
And Lewis has started playing soccer this year, so I quite enjoy Saturday mornings, not going to work, backing off from working Saturdays, half a days, not so much. I got sports first year going enrolled in a sports to a little bit of a community thing. So that has been a good change actually.
Yeah, nice.
Because I played sport. I played sport all my younger years, so it's not bad to get touch base with my earlier years as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Nice connection. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's appreciate that. Linton, you feel comfortable?
I'm Linton. I've got 2 kids. I call them my 2 gremlins. They each individual. And I suppose at this point in time, when I get home, they'll come and run and jump on me and daddy, and I give them rides and everything. And my son keeps forgetting. He keeps eating his veggies. He gets heavier. So he keeps wanting me to throw him like I used to. I'll tell him I'm just getting weak and you're getting powerful. Mate, you don't have to be someone's biological dad to show them fatherly characters and a role model for if they've got no one to talk to or having struggles with questions.
Yeah, beautiful.
And you don't be dominating, but you help guide and let them question and encourage questions, because people learn through questions. So
beautiful.
That's how I plan to learn from you guys through letting you talk more than me. So that's my plan.
That's good. You've got a lot to offer. That's exactly that, is it? And I think that's it. We have often I think our content is around that, asking questions, as I will this evening. And for us to explore. And again, this is what I actually liked and joined the organisation, because I'd been a triple P parenting facilitator, and I wanted to engage with dads, but we don't. And recognising as a dad myself and a man, I think I'm a pretty typical bloke, that I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being lectured to, especially in parenting. I struggle in that space. But if I'm invited to explore some concepts and explore different ways to do things, I'm open to that. And if I'm also willing to listen for other men and have peer support. And so that's what I like about us as an organisation, that we're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to invite you to explore, are you doing enough for your kids? And let's look at the fruit of our kids as the gauge of whether we need to do more, So I think that's powerful. But if you wouldn't mind, I'll share the screen and just give a little bit of history, because this was, again, a real connection point for me when I joined the organisation, because in that same context I was just saying, yes, we have the statistics and we're a research-based organisation, and so there's enough research that we've done saying that the role of the father is so critical to our kids' mental health and personal development. But what it started with is this gentleman here on the screen, which is Bruce Robinson, as a lung specialist and a doctor. He was medically working with men that were unfortunately coming to the end of their life through lung-related diseases, asbestosis and lung cancer and things like that, and he's treating them. And so often these men would share during that sort of intimacy of relationship of this part of their life. And he said it's just amazing how many regrets that he would hear from these men and these dads. And this is what connected and started the organisation. And those things there were 3 clear things. The first one was that these men consistently said, I really regret how much I dedicated to career and development of my career that actually took away from family. That yes, career is important, but getting that balance right, that it's not one or the other. It's it's both. The second thing that they consistently said was that they wish they had a better relationship, just a deeper relationship with their kids through their life, and that at this point there was a gap. And the third thing was they wished that someone had grabbed them earlier, around primary school or even younger, and sort of really gave them the message. And so I connect to that. I think that that's important. And as someone who's passionate about the organisation and what we do, I see myself as a bit of a spokesperson for those fathers that have gone before us to just deliver that message and say, guys, it's worth exploring, being part of a dad's group, doing all you can, because it is about us, yes, but it's deeper about our kids. Our kids really, really need us. And we actually have a role to play in their life that isn't met by anyone else. And Linton, you said that before, that you don't have to be a biological father. Father figures are such a critical space. And so, dads, if we're not going to step into the lives of our kids in every way we possibly can, then we're leaving space for someone else to. And so we've just got to be comfortable with that. Okay, so for me, I want to be the biggest influence and the best influence I possibly can for my kids. My dad was a great influence on me. Not perfect, same as me, not perfect. But I very, very much value the role that he played in my life. I want to play a video, if I can, which is really from Bruce and hearing his message, and just a little bit more context about the Fathering Project. So I'll put that on now.
Although the Fathering Project was initially set up really because of my role as a doctor talking to men who were dying, who'd wished they'd spent more time with their kids, what really got it fired up were the statistics that showed that the most powerful missing force in preventing the problems that adolescents have today is that of a strong father figure. I mean, what's happened is kids' risks have gone way up. Drugs, binge drinking, problems at school, bad attitude to school, at the same time as dad's ability to perform has gone down. And the Fathering Project closes that gap.
Well, to this day, I say my dad's been the greatest influence on my life. One thing Dad did to help shape my cricket career was when we were a young boy, Dad actually built a cricket net out in the backyard, like a proper cricket net that you see at the down at the local park. So the problem was that we had this wooden fence, and it was down near the swimming pool, and we had this wooden fence. And Dad said, "We'll get the cricket net for you and your brothers, but for you to start playing it, you got to paint the fence." And I said, "Oh, no worries, that'll take 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It took me about 3 weeks to do it. I've hated painting ever since. But the thing again was about being rewarded for working hard. Well, I think what happens is through the values that are instilled into you through your family or through your parents, you tend to pass them on to your children. What I've realised is that what I'll inherit from my parents down the track isn't material, it's those great values and the great example.
I think in Dad's eyes, providing for us financially was what he was there to do, what his role in our family life was. For my father, everything was about winning. To me, as a kid growing up, I wasn't the fastest, and if I came second in a race, I thought that was quite good, but to him that was a loser. So when I was growing up, I didn't really have the father figure in my life to give me the boundaries, to know what was right or wrong. So as a teenager, you start to make those decisions yourself. With my eldest daughter, my greatest concern now is that the failings that I had from my father, I'm starting to pass on to the next generation. And I just hope it's not too late.
We don't talk very much, and I usually go to bed before he comes home. I don't remember him giving me any hugs or really much affection at all, really. Now, I don't really care anymore. I don't try, I don't study. if he doesn't care what mark I get, then what does that matter? I just want him to talk to me. And I just want him to tell me when I'm doing good and tell me when I'm doing wrong, and I just want him to tell me it's all gonna be okay when I don't feel good.
We focus on father figures because, to be honest, mums are on average doing a pretty good job, but fathers are a lot more variable. And kids have their radar out for what a father or a father figure thinks of them. And that's why it's so powerful if a father speaks into their life, is affectionate and gives them that sense of direction and love. The reason so many people are enthusiastic about the Fathering Project, and we hope you will be too, is that it is the most powerful force. The chance to change the future of Australian society is enormous. There is nothing like it that has the chance of being as powerful. For kids, Pollens is like turning the tap off instead of mopping up the water. That's why it's so powerful, and that's why we'd like you to become involved.
Yeah, it's a powerful message, isn't it? And actually, when I was joining the organisation, that was one of the videos that they showed me, and it, for me, was a big impact. I love the fact that, well, when Justin Lagan talks about, you know, in his role, that what he learnt from his father, that powerful message of the values and the memories that he has, that Dad was guiding him, you know, in helping him connect to, you know, hard work as well as rewards and those sorts of things. But the second dad that was talking about the failings of the father that he had, and that you know, shaping the way that he parents and is a father, I think it's important, and it can be a sensitive space for us because we all have a fathering story. And I think this is what's powerful about this organisation and what we're doing, is that we're all sons first when we talk about us as dads, and that we have a reference to our father experience, and that has been influential, and it's either produced something great things, or it's been neutral, or sometimes devastating. So I think we do connect to this easily because we can look back and think, what would I have done, or would I have liked more from my father, or what was great from my father experience as well. And again, that shapes us. And I think those sort of stories are powerful once we get some trust and culture within these dads groups to talk about that, and again, exploring what ways would we want to parent our kids, and what things are the way to do it, to be that father. But as a youth worker, I'm going to say I connected very much to that young lady who, although she can really express some of her concerns that are direct to the relationship that she really wants from her father, the sad thing is a lot of young people don't connect as easily, and so it just presents as anger and disconnection. And if I go to the next screen,
Although the father
as an organisation, again with the research we've done, the role of father is so critical, because as we can see here on the left hand side, this is what is decreased, which we call those risk factors, that the risk of domestic violence in their life as they grow into young adulthood and adults, self-harm, suicide, substance abuse, crime, but you know, also really poor mental health, depression and all those sorts of things, high anxiety, are all decreased when a father engages in a young person's life. And then on the right hand side of that screen that you'll see in the blue, they are called what we'd say as protective factors. That one of the most critical factors for our kids is an engaged and effective dad or father figure role in their life, for that mentoring, that safety and connection and guidance and values and those sorts of things that we can give a young person is so critical. And these are the things that go up. We see amazing increases in mental health and character development and behaviour when a dad increases their engagement. We've seen that many times in the Fathering Project. And because it's so important, our mission is to ensure that every child in Australia has an involved and effective father or father figure. It's absolutely critical. And that's why we are passionate about going across the nation. As I say, we've 600 dads groups. There's many more to come. There's about 9,000 schools, if we just focus on schools, about 9,000 schools across the nation, just in Australia. So we've got a way to go. But by you guys joining and starting to get men together, you're definitely part of this fathering movement that we're so passionate about. For the gents on the call, I'm going to ask a question, And if you're watching this as a replay, I want to ask the question of you as well, just to think about, what do kids need from their dads? And I will go to you guys, but again, if you're watching this as a recording, maybe just pause and just have a think about, what do you think is really critical that your kids would love from their dad? So guys, what do you guys think? What's the things that your kids really want from you as dads? Either of you can go first, Darren, or hang on, Linton's raised his hands. I've got to acknowledge that. He's done the right thing.
It's all good. It's all good. You're right, mate.
Linton, brilliant.
You're right, Darren. You're right. I was just.
No worries. It's probably just, a lot of those videos are saying things that they want. I suppose it's bringing up a lot of things I don't really think about that much. Having a presence.
Beautiful.
Being just being there, I suppose.
Yeah, nice.
That's probably and in the tough times, and it's all there's bad days like everyone, and just got to be there, no matter what, I suppose.
Yep, that's awesome. That's it. Well, we'll talk exactly that. You spoke them straight. It's like you're following a script, mate. Well done. That's good. But being there is absolutely critical, and that covers so many aspects to their life and what they need from us. And what's something that you think absolutely critical that the kids want?
Make it short and sweet. Love, support, stability.
Yep, nice.
I grew up in a bad household, not very nice parent, all that deal. I asked my wife's mother when I was her boyfriend, what did you do to raise such a good child? Yeah. She told me you just need those three things: love, support, stability. In a conversation, early morning conversation, and I'm trying my best to provide that sort of environment for my kids. So awesome. Exactly what Darren said. He said in different words, but the presence, and I could see what he was saying is 100% as well. And it's just funny how there's correlations to what he was saying, and what I'm saying. It's just it is. I like the way he said it as well. The presence, being there. So
being there, perfect. I'll share again because I want to show exactly because we asked this question of kids, and this is the responses that they gave. It's going to come along. There it is. Is that they focus on me, shows real interest, and communicates and listens. Takes me to sport and on trips, creates special times, makes memories. Again, so both of what you said are intertwined through all of this. But I love in that second point, which is tradition. Kids actually really love tradition, making memories. And often when we do our events, and this is what we're going to invite you to do as a dad's group, is actually have that as your focus. What can you do as a group of men, as a community, that have that, will our kids remember this? Are we going to make a memory where they have that significant time with their dad? Plays with me, rough and tumble. And again, if we go deeper into that, that's really our role modeling of even self-regulation. What is safe, rough and tumble? When do we stop when we're getting too agitated, or we need to calm down and have a drink of water and then go back to it again? You know, all these sorts of things are really, really key. Showing boundaries that can happen through rough and tumble play. Guides, set boundaries again, as I said, shows values and role models. Reads to me. I think that's awesome. And I often say here, don't underestimate sitting and reading to them or with them, but can I also say that what we show interest in, our kids will show interest in. And so if you will read with your kids, they will be readers. And even if you are not the greatest reader, say, can I actually read with you because I'd like to get better at this? That role modeling and that authenticity and that vulnerability from a dad is so powerful. So don't ever feel you're not qualified because of a skill. Go in there with who you are, and that's powerful. Shows affection, hugs me. That's really critical. This is again what the kids say. And under all that is the kids need to feel safe, and they love that dads make them feel safe. So guys, I'll go to the second question that I want to ask and have us explore through this. What are the challenges? So if this is what our kids need from us, and this is what we're trying to fill, and think, great, I'll step into that. I've never had a dad say, I'm not up for any of those things. They'll say, yep, I'd love to do that. What are the things that are our genuine challenges that hold us back? And I'll stop sharing again so I can engage a little bit more. What do you think of the challenges that you guys had? Again, if you don't mind sharing that, what things would hold you back?
Probably work deadlines, I suppose. The unknown, the Friday afternoon rush job. That can upset your weekends.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
so I'm trying to back that off.
Yeah, it is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's where just that unknown thing. You have plans, and you're going off, and then you don't want to become the norm of Dad can't make it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
It is the work-life balance is absolutely critical. It's a challenge, isn't it? It really is.
that's the mind's game when you work for a little contracting company at times to keep the contracts, to keep the clients happy. That's where that is challenging.
Yeah.
But I have to think about what else. Yeah, it's just yeah. Oh yeah, Carrie. Yeah, I would think a bit more.
Yeah, Vincent, is there anything that comes up for you that's a challenge, you think?
Yeah, still emotional regulation. My son sometimes is not in the mode to be ready for bed, so we ended up like I said, we changed what we do, but my kids really do like reading a book before bed.
Yep.
So I let them grab a book, but then sometimes I myself want to fall asleep, so I do fall asleep, so they keep me on track as well. So but yeah, like I say,
fatigue definitely is. Parenting after work is hard, and fatigue is definitely a part that stops us from being everything that we want to be. I think that's absolutely fair too.
And then
go lay down, read a book, the bed always turning off. You're going, I'm struggling. You read to me, I'll fall asleep.
Pretty much what happens sometimes.
Pretty much. Bed for me is going to sleep.
Exactly.
So, and as well, I try my best, but it doesn't always happen. But to try and pick them up after school is what I want to try and do. But obviously, as Darren said, with work, so on a Friday, when work's not busy, I'll try and finish early to come pick my son up. I always trying to take him when I can get them opportunities.
Yes.
So that's the challenge as well.
Yeah.
Just managing. You choose to be at work getting paid, or you have to take holiday hours to go do things for school.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's hard, isn't it? Because we are balancing, and we're often thinking that. And then what I find comes is guilt. Then you think, oh, I really should. And so then we're almost punishing ourselves through that process, which doesn't help us either.
I've told my son, and that's a challenge as well, because in the morning I stopped him playing Nintendo. So he sent me to work. Like, he's like, you go to work now, and then he wants to play the Nintendo. So I then told him, well, you're playing the Nintendo because I go to work and we can pay for it. So if you be nice to me, I'll make some more bucks and then we can get another game. So then he's like, instead of angrily telling me to go to work, he then tells me to go to work so I can get another Nintendo game. So this was at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's mucking around on the Nintendo. So I just change they still at the age where I can change the coolness of something.
Yeah.
But if one kid's got the other one, it's got a different feature, I change why it's cool, and then there's no problem with sharing anymore.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. That's good. Sounds like you're overcoming challenges already. That's
a bit of one game.
Yeah. The only problem is they're going to get older, and then you have to work harder at reasoning with them. But then you give them an opportunity to give me some reasons. Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
And sometimes your reasons are not that good, so you got to work on that too.
Yeah, it's good. Well, it sounds like you're building a relationship too, and that's another element that we talk about. Definitely, there's understanding there. But the common things we hear when these challenges, so thanks for sharing those things for you. Is definitely the time thing, the work-life balance, but also finance. That's another one where kids, and I know my kids, they play basketball, as I alluded to earlier. That what comes with that is basketball shoes and the trend of that, and all the newer stuff, and this guy's got this now, what these sort of things. So that's a challenge for me too, is being able to say no. Having to say no to my kids, I struggle with that. So there's those sort of challenges as well, and the fatigue, as you talked about, that parenting and being a dad is sometimes an after-hours gig, and we're tired. So all those things are challenges, and I think it's really important that we actually acknowledge those, and definitely in our dads groups. I think this is when we have a launch or we have a discussion time. It's like a bit of a release and a bit of a relaxed time. We suddenly go, wow, I actually really thought I was the only one that had this problem or had this concern, and everyone else seems like they got it together, but actually we all have the same challenges that are holding us back. And what I like about this discussion is that, again, it almost gives context to the dads group. That you can suddenly go, all right, well, if these are the challenges we've got, I wonder if we can start to use some of the resources we've got from the Fathering Project, have these discussions around overcoming them, so we don't have to sit in this. And so I will share something if you wouldn't mind, which is one of our tips. And so I'll share the screen again, so just to give a little bit of dynamics to our discussion. But this is one of our practical tips, as I'm saying. And Linton, as I just alluded to, again, relationship is so critical here for dads. And this is how we, really it's our launch pad, I think. The depth of our relationship is going to give us such value in the role that we play. And so the BUS is an acronym. And Bruce came up with this. He wanted to give us something that we can just stay focused on. I love this. Very simple. So the BUS is the acronym, and the first one, which is what Darren said, that's why I said you're following a script, mate, is perfect, which is being there. So our kids need us really present, and this is, I almost see this as a self-audit, and I'll give an example in a second. Is it being there for kids emotionally, physically, really understanding them and listening, as they said to us, as what they need from us, but definitely being there and really being present. So they want us to delight in them and see them. And there's study around attention for kids and how often do we need to spend time with them and what do they need. And there's a bit of a magic number of about 8 or 9 minutes a day, would you believe, that a child needs from their parents to feel valued. And you think, 9 minutes, are you kidding? Of course our kids are getting that. But what that 9 minutes is absolutely really present time with them. Eye contact, listening, sharing. And then when we do that self-audit, I know myself, and I consider myself, youth work, I know this stuff, that I still have to just check in and go, actually, am I being really present? And are my kids getting that time from me? Yes, we might be having breakfast together, or I might be making lunches with them or doing things with them. But is there times where we just sit and we'll talk and really build relationship and listen to them? And so the BUS is really, again, an accountability or a bit of a challenge and a bit of a focus for us to say, all right, how often am I really being there? Can I give an example of when I haven't got it right? This photo is the photo I took, and I'd say this is the last photo that I took, or last time I used my phone at a basketball game. This is Tia when she was 10, playing under 10s, so probably 9, actually 9.5, basketball. And so I coached the boys, my elder boys, who are now 13 and 15. And so I was watching Tia's game. I was there early on the Saturday morning. As you can see, I'm in the gear. I'm there, right? So I'm ticking the B box, no question. This is it. I'm being there for my kids. But I made the mistake of having my phone next to me and responded to a notification. It was an email notification, and it was a Saturday morning. There was no reason for me to pick that phone up, but out of really bad habit to my phone, I did, and I missed a critical time for Tia. She scored a basket, and it was her first basket. And when she looked over in the joy of that, I had my head down looking at a phone. And I won't let myself forget that. I won't beat myself up about it. I made a mistake. I've apologized to her, but I don't want to make that mistake again. So I see the being there again is how deep do we go, and just keep checking in. Are we present from our kids' perspective? Because that was a critical element for me. So the U, if I move on to the next part of the acronym, is unconditional love. And so the U is how do we express a love to our kids that is actually unconditional, that it's separate to behavior or what they're doing, that no matter what they do, they feel the safety and the solid foundation that they are loved by us as their dad, no matter what. So we might not like some of the things that they do, and we still can address behavior and discipline our kids, but they should never feel the vulnerability of having love withdrawn because of it, or that love is a transaction, that we only show love or we only express love and tell them that we love them when they're doing the right thing. That can be a very poor habit and pattern for young people to create, especially when we start going into adult relationships, marriage and those sorts of things, that they learn that love is a transaction. It's not at all. And they should feel the safety and stability of love from a father, no matter what. So I often say to dads, if we haven't felt that, if we haven't experienced unconditional love, that can be actually hard for us to understand and connect to. So I really leave that as an invitation for us to explore, what does unconditional love look like? How do I express it now to my kids? And do I have a deep enough an understanding of what it is? The S in BUS is that our kids are special. All of them they're sovereign to us. They are separate to us. They are their own individuals. And what's really powerful is a dad who speaks into the life of their child. So the S in bus is really recognizing your child is unique, and it's great to actually highlight those things and speak about those things. Talking about, I love your sense of humor. I just love your company. You're really peaceful to be with, or you're just a very considerate person, or I love the way you're a hard worker, or even if they're a bit stubborn or strong-willed, speaking into that and saying, that part of you is probably going to go really great in your perseverance, and you're going to be someone who can really strive at things. Being able to speak into the life of our kids is really important, and the father's voice is so powerful, and so we want to use this opportunity to really have that voice inside their heart and head of what their father thinks of them, because that's about adding significant self-worth and value to them. So once we understand the BUS principle, the BUS, be there, unconditional love, and how to share just how special our kids are, Linton, you're already doing it. The idea is then to create bus stops. And so we invite you to change the shape of your week in some way, in the way that you might be able to negotiate time off work early for one day and say, hey, do you know what? Friday afternoons are the day that I pick you up, and on the way home we're going to go, to the footy field and kick a footy, or we're going to get a milkshake, or you choose, or I'm going to choose one week and then you choose next week. Doing something where you're really creating that opportunity for bus. So if we, to get on the bus, as we say, so if we've got a busy week and we're struggling with time and the work-life balance, we might not be able to be present every night or, as much as we want to. But if we can say, do you know what? I'm going to make sure that through my week, there is 2 times, 3 times, however many times you can, I'm going to schedule time to have a date with my kids, and really make sure that I'm being there. One of the examples that we give, I think, is a beautiful testimony to this, is we're working with a stack of tradies, actually, as one of the dads groups was with a workplace. And one of the guys said, look, can I just get a bit of a check-in? I love this bus principle. This is what I'm doing. Can you tell me whether you reckon I'm doing enough? And so speaking to one of the guys in Sydney, and he said, look, I come home from work, I've got to organise, self-employed, so I've got to organise the next day's quotes, ordering gear, all that sort of stuff. So I get home about 4 o'clock, straight into my office, get all that done so I can then spend time at dinner with the kids, help out there, then get bath time, maybe read a book, and then the kids are away, and then that's me done. Do you reckon that's enough? And so Sean, who was presenting at the time, said, look, not here to say you're a bad or good dad, that's not what we're actually about. But why don't you try, just see, what if you came home and gave your kids 20 minutes when you got home rather than later, and just see what happens, and just be really present with them, ask them what they want to do with you or something like that. And so he did that. And it was, again, about 10, 12 weeks by the time the next meeting was, the next school term. And this guy sort of beelined for Sean and said, mate, can I just tell you how that went for me, that advice that you had, just to check in? He said, we don't do 20 minutes anymore. That was actually impossible. We now do an hour. He said, so I get home at 4 o'clock, and that next hour is me and the kid time. And so he's got 3 young boys. He said it took a little while, to be honest, for them to even understand what this was, because I'd come home and say, hey, do you want to do something? And they looked at me like, what? We don't see you till later. What's this about? So he recognised that they'd got into a pattern of really not even engaging with him. But once he started, they now have that hour every day, and he's seen such growth in the kids, in the connection that he's got with them. He feels more purposeful. They're so excited that he drives up the street and they're already out waiting for him to come up the road. So this connection, by just him having the courage and conviction to go, I'm just going to test something out. I'm just going to see, can I do a little bit more? What's also cool, and would be lovely for Angela, is that the school end up contacting the family sort of unsolicited and just saying, hey, we're just noticing something great in your kids. They're engaging in school. They seem more settled. What's happening for them? Has something happened? And so again, they were able to connect to that role of father. So that's pretty powerful, I think. So this is what we're here about tonight, is really about launching this dads group. So the next video I just want to put on is, what does a dads group look like? We've really covered the why, I think, that it's really important. We have such a role to play. And then this is the vehicle. But what I like about this, and the video I'm going to show you, is a dads group that's been running about 3 years. And these guys are doing a great job. They're actually probably 4 years running now, but this video was taken when they were 3 years. But I also like this because there's freedom in what you want to do as activities. As I said earlier, it's about making memories for your kids. So this doesn't have to be I'd say don't allow it to be boring in any way. So these guys are doing some great stuff, doing billy cart competitions within schools. So have a look at this one. I'll just make sure that volume's right up.
Hello, my name is Craig Petsky and I've been the leader of the Dads group, the Dads of Richmond Kids, fondly known as the Dorks, for the previous 3 years now. I think this kind of thing is important for the kids because it gives them an opportunity to, one, be with their dad or their father figure, whoever it may be, but also to interact with other fathers and father figures and see what it's like. And it's something different because it's not something that their dad or whoever it might be comes up with. It's quite creative. Well, the benefits for the dads that I can see is, one, we're all the same. You know, the good thing about when we get together, we have conversations, and it's amazing because you suddenly sit back and you think you're struggling with something, but then the person next to you is going through the same thing, or they've been through that same thing. So it's just a great reality check.
Overall, it's been really positive for the kids, positive for the dads. You know, you really felt part of the community, and it's just really well organised.
The benefits are just huge. The bonding that goes on and that sort of special one-on-one time is really unique for the kids with their dads.
I guess if I met someone who was thinking about starting a dads group, I would say just give it a go. You know, it only takes one person to step forward and take it on, and there's always others that want to get involved. It's just, yeah, it's that first step, and once you've done that, it's not a problem.
If I could describe the fathering project, the dads group, it would be inclusive,
good people, and fun. Yeah. Simple as that.
Pretty cool. So these guys are progressive. We don't suggest that you start with a billy cart contest, but I like that because it shows you, you know, get together as men, start to see what your natural resources and natural you know, excitement is and interests are, and start to shape and build that dads group around that. But really, if I just give you a quick example or explain what the dads group's all about, I guess it does three key things. Not only, as I say, it's the best vehicle for us to get together as men and explore fathering and have fathering intentional fathering discussions for our kids, but it is about building that community. It connects dads to other men, which is really important on heaps, you know, on so many levels. It does connect them to the school, and again, that's really powerful for our kids. As Angela said in the beginning there, that, you know, the excitement that starts to buzz around when kids hear the dads coming to school, and again, that principle of that if we show interest in something, our kids show interest in it. So if we show interest in school, our kids show interest in it. So getting dads connected to school through the Fathering Project Dads Group is really important as well. The third thing it does is connects you to great tips. Similar to the bus principle, I think that's a really simple one, but can be quite effective. And there's such depth in that. Each time we look at, am I being there? How do I keep showing my kids unconditional love? And you know, how do I speak into their lives and let them know that they're special just as they are? That really is a foundation for a relationship. But there's so much more to it. What you guys will get in your launch pack is the 31 books of tips. Did you get those, Angela? Yeah. So we call these a Dunny book because there's 31 tips in them. So every day of the month, hopefully you're as regular as that. But you can go in and just read the tip for the day. And I also like that because if you're handing that out at the gate and saying, hey guys, we're building a dads group, here's an example of what we're going to talk about. It's in good dad language. It's simple stuff, just saying, this is how you teach your values to your kids. This is really important. You know, dads are very powerful for establishing values. Be specific about values. Talk about what you're wanting to do and teach your kids. You know, just little tips just for us to be confident and competent in the role that we're playing. And we see such growth in it that we just get spurred on ourselves. So the dads group is really important. It's about those creating memories. And so we want you to be mobilized to be able to create these events and keep them dynamic. We give you a heap of ideas and event plans on our portal that you'll all have access to, and I'll invite you to join in a second. And that gives you not only access to our weekly tips where Bruce sends a video and says, this is what we're talking about this week. Here's maybe a focal point for you as a dad. But you can start to look at, you know, resources that are really relevant to you, but also as a dads group, here's some of the events that you might want to run as dads and kids events at your school. And again, we just say, as with all things, keep it super simple. If you could focus on having one dads and kids event each term and just keep building not only excitement for our students and our kids, but dads will slowly just become more comfortable, get to know each other through these fun events. And then we say, men, get together as men. Do this. Have this purposeful times, these intentional times where you can create memories and be really, engaged with your kids as a community. But invite you to get together 2 or 3 times through the year as men. Go and have a schnitzel at the local pub or surf club or something like that, and get to know each other and talk about the great things about being a dad, but also talk about maybe the challenges that we even just explored lightly tonight, that it is hard finding that work-life balance. Hear others and start to support each other and look at solutions that you can find through some of our content as well. So the next part really is about where to from here. And this is, again, the launch. So we want to invite you to be part of this group. And so we'll make a QR code available to you, which makes it really easy for you to join the group. But you could also do it by just going to thefatheringproject.org as a website and simply search for a dad's group. You look up Farleigh State School and you join there. It'll ask you some questions to make sure that you are a dad of that school, a little bit about yourself, and then you're basically part of that portal. We won't be spamming you or anything. You will get the dad's tips if you choose. You've got to check a box and say, yeah, I want to receive that. But this is more about being part of that community and allowing the dads group leaders, that could be Darren and Linton, that they can contact you directly. That they can contact you directly, and get you involved in the planning and all those sorts of things. Can I also say here that it's really important. It might seem subtle, but it is really important that the community actually owns this. Dads, we need to own this. A lot of us don't have the greatest relationship to school. I'll put my hand up for that too. So if I had the principal saying, hey, I want to help you be a better dad, I'd probably not come, to be honest.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just recognize that as men, that we want to explore stuff. So it's actually really critical that we have men from the community that say, I'm actually happy to be the spokesperson and the coordinator and the leader for this. And so to the guys watching online as a replay, if that's also you, if you think, I'm actually really interested to learn more about how can I just be a coordinator or part of the leadership team that's a community representative, that I'm a dad at the school and I'd like to walk alongside the school and say, yeah, how can we do this? Then please get in contact with Angela as a principal. But also, if you go into the portal, as I'm just inviting you to now, you can actually request, you can put a virtual hand up and say, I'd like to be a leader, once you go in and set up your own profile there. So it's really super simple and a really engaging process, and you'll get lots for it. So the other thing is you can actually, so there's another tip, that's how you can get in there. I was just going to say one more thing, that's where your leadership request, but you can also add other people. If you want to invite someone, you know their email address, then you can invite them to be part of the dads group for your school. And in closing, just that we know that these are a great thing. So, if this is a big step for you as a bloke to be able to go out and say, all right, I'm intentionally going and joining this group, that could be, and I want to acknowledge that could be a big step. Can I say that you're going to benefit from it? But in your times where you think, oh, I don't know about it, think about your kids, because it actually is really important for them that you step up and be the best dad you possibly can. And we want to encourage you and just honor you for doing that, because it's a great role. One of your most influential roles, no doubt. So thanks for engaging tonight. Special thanks to Darren and Linton for being here. And we look forward to, I look forward to getting up there at some stage, hopefully, and seeing you guys for an event. That'd be lovely.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you very much, man.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. That was very helpful. Yeah, awesome.